lessons learned. Okay, I've been extremely fortunate in terms of my path as a strength coach and as a coach. And I want to carry on some of those pieces and tie together everything that we've done from a performance course this week. So one of them, and a lot of people I feel would have had this lesson, but mental resiliency does not come from pushing an athlete or putting them in a dark hole that they need to struggle to get out of. Sorry, I've seen some of the strongest athletes be put in a hole that you think they would never come out of, but they do not have the mental resiliency to be able to perform on the day. Yes, they're incredibly tough, but they crumble under pressure. And that was one of the hardest pieces for me when I was first starting to work with luge, where the luge coach would just bury them. He'd be pushing them along an outdoor track when they were doing paddling, doing 400 meters with a foam roller, trying to just get them to grind it out. But it didn't positively affect their technique. Usually it led to injury, but it also didn't make them tougher or more prepared to be able to compete. And it was one of those things that, yes, I want to challenge my athletes, absolutely, but I want to do that in a systematic way that you can help build mental resiliency, not break it. Next one is developing a relationship with your athletes imperative to get the most out of them. Okay, if you do not develop a relationship with your athletes and you are not communicating effectively, you will not maximize what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And it can be as simple as, hey, how was your day? How was your weekend? Engage. How's your significant other? How's your dog? Okay, and you learn about these people. One of the greatest things that we get to experience as coaches is that we get to develop relationships with a lot of people. Okay, and it's fantastic. So I encourage you to really reinforce this idea behind developing relationships with your athletes. Asking athletes a tough question reveals a deeper understanding of their desire and their knowledge of themselves. I will always debrief with athletes at the end of the season, regardless if I was with them a lot or not very much. And asking them tough questions, I think, really gives me an idea in terms of the evolution of what you've taught them over a year. And simple questions like, what are you grateful for? Some athletes are like, what do you mean, what are you grateful for? Well, what are you grateful for? And they think about it for a while, some have to come back. But then all of a sudden they'll come out and they'll be like, I'm grateful for the fact that I get to do my sport. I'm grateful for my friends and family. I'm grateful for the people that I have around me on a day-to-day basis. And I can promise you that if you go back to those pieces on days that are really tough, it will really embrace their learning environment. Not only in the debriefing process, but as you go throughout your journey with them. So I encourage you to ask those tough questions. Okay, also ask tough questions in the training environment. Okay, put them in uncomfortable positions. Okay? Consistently brief and debrief with your athletes. Okay, that whiteboard that I now use on a day-to-day basis has completely changed the focus, the purpose of the sessions, and now I see the growth of my athletes in terms of what we're trying to do on a day-to-day basis. And it was simple. All it was, oh, here's a whiteboard. I was already doing that. I was communicating that with the athletes, but now they can see it. And we can go back to it and revisit it. And we can say, did we achieve what we wanted to? It doesn't necessarily just have to be in the training environment. Okay, it can be after blocks. It can be after different camps. Okay, but try to have that constant dialogue. Feel comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, not only for the athletes, but yourself. Okay, throughout the course, I've tried to put some people on the spot to share their experiences, to share how they felt about the day. It's really important that you step outside your comfort zone. About 12 years ago now, I and another therapist that I know who's a really, really good friend of mine, we were able to go down to LA. to work with Dan and Stu, who I feel are one of my greatest mentors. But I had really no idea what I was doing. I was literally going from a silo to something that was completely different. And they've shaped my coaching philosophies and my coaching theories drastically, but also my thought processes. And I challenge myself every year in terms of when I look at, okay, what did I accomplish through the year? I'll write down, what do I feel really comfortable with, and what do I feel really uncomfortable with? So maybe it's your level of knowledge in terms of a specific injury, whether it's around nutrition, whether it's around sleep habits, whether it's communication with coaches, whether it's your presentation ability, all of these different things. Figure out individually what you're really good at and what things that you need to be better at. Because that's how you have growth. Network. I cannot stress this enough. There's a great resource in this room, and it's each one of you. You guys all have different experiences. Not all of you are strength coaches, but all of you guys have a different component or something different that, you know what, I would love to talk to Britt about what she's doing in the paramedical side. Okay, we've got 2 coaches in the room that have had massive experience with alpine ski racing. All of a sudden you want to build that network. Okay, we've got a fantastic therapist here that was presenting this morning. Okay, in terms of developing your network, you want to expand it, you don't want to narrow it. And you know what, I'll be the I should be, but I'll be the first to say that when you get the opportunity to go out and have a coffee or have a beer or whatever it is with other colleagues, it's crazy what you can learn. Or the other thing is how much that can change your thought process about specific things. Right? So I challenge you to do that. And the big piece is that if you have that idea, that philosophy, then I guarantee you that other people will also embrace that. So I challenge you to reach out to people. Hey, if we go for a coffee, can we discuss periodization? Can we talk about coaching? There's so many different things. So network. Be purposeful, be mindful, and show intent with everything you put into an athlete's program. You could expand this to everything you do in life, but I think that's a little extreme. At least for today. That's deep. Okay? I hate it. It drives me up the wall when an athlete goes to a coach and is like, why is this in my program? And they're like, because. Drives me nuts. Drives me absolutely bonkers. Know why you're putting something into a program. You should have evaluated what your program was or what you're trying to get out of it. Because if you know why you're doing that, then the athlete will know why, and all of a sudden there's purpose and there's intent. But just because doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore, especially now that athletes are also able to have the magic Google. Okay, my wife is a doctor, okay, and she will come home, I'd say three days out of the week, and be like, you will never guess. And I'm like, I will guess. I'm like, you dealt with a patient today that had Dr. Google on it, didn't you? And she's like, and then she starts ranting on it. And I'm like, I have those same scenarios. Okay, so if you always have that same amount of purpose and intent to your program, really can help move things forward. So, with that is it.